Hello, welcome back to another Swans Cast match preview. This week we are going to be hosting at Bristol City at the Swansea.com stadium on Sunday. I believe 3:00 kickoff. I think definitely trying to control that one a little bit. We were just having a discussion beforehand with me about how rowdy the games can get. But yeah, Sunday 3:00. This one. Ben is with me to join once again. You've been here before, so welcome back, Ben.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, looking forward to it. Not having to get up with the crack of dawn, getting on, I think, just before 11, so can have a bit of a lie-in on Sunday rather than the 12 kickoffs when you've got to be up at 7 o'clock to get over to South Wales. But yeah, thanks for having me. Looking forward to it.
That's all right. Do you have a certain way you've got to get into the ground then? Are they like escorting you in, or do you just have to get escorted through like wherever you park? They just have police everywhere, is it? Or...
Yeah, I mean, from the train, you just get escorted right from the station right to the away end, which is about a 45-minute walk. And last season, I don't know if you remember, but it was about 25 degrees. It was boiling hot. I mean, they took us the long way around. It was like a 45-minute walk, boiling hot. No one had water, especially on the way back as well. It was awful. But obviously, it hopefully be not as warm on Sunday, and maybe they'll get us in a bit quicker, especially if it's raining. But yeah, just straight from the train station, straight in, pick up 3 points, and straight back home, hopefully.
Well, hopefully not the case for us. But what, the police walk you down the road? Like they walk with you, or what? Like what if you don't get the train?
Yeah. If the train gets police walk you down, and then I went on the coach for it might be in the cup game. I went on the coach for one of them a couple of years back, and you have to stop at a service station just outside Swansea. You wait there for about 45 minutes to an hour for a police escort back in, and then when you drive, it's fine. To be fair, you park at, I think there's like a car park just opposite that restaurant pub. I can't remember which one it is. Beefeater maybe outside the ground. So if you drive, it's not too bad. But if you get the train or get the coach, yeah, straight into the away and no messing about.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, obviously from all Swans fans' perspective, we just rock up at our own stadium. But when I've been to Bristol, I didn't quite get a police escort. We just wandered down. But I know there was park was a bit of carnage in the park outside the ground, and there was a lot of police.
Some of our fans aren't too happy that some clubs get free reign of the city when they come here. But yeah, let's not get into that.
I guess it's down to the local policing and how much they want to invest in it, I guess, isn't it, really? But
yeah,
whether it's needed or not is another question, I guess. Maybe some are over the top and some are not enough. Who knows? But before we get into the football chat, do you want to give everyone a shout where we can find your content?
Yeah, so I do similar stuff, obviously, for Bristol City. Robin's on tour on YouTube. Feel free to check out. I'm sure, depending on the result, there'll be some content from Sunday.
Yeah, go check that out. I mean, hopefully it's a good result for us. So maybe there will be the best content there from your end. But who knows what will happen, eh? Anyway, let's get into the video then. So I like to start with a little bit of a look back at last season, if you like. Not that much detail, but how did last season go compared to perhaps where your expectations were when you look at where you finished?
I mean, it's been the same old now for a couple of seasons, and I think you're getting the same sort of thing at Swansea. And obviously, we know Cardiff have got it. Similar with Preston. It's just same old mid-table finish every single year. Few times during the season, we're looking up, seeing how many points off we were, and we were doing that a bit at the end of last season. To be honest, we beat Leicester at home, we beat Southampton at home as well. So beat some of the big boys. Put a good performance at Ipswich away. Obviously, they got that late goal that they seem to get every single game last year. But I mean, it was a weird one because, like I said, we were looking up at points, and then one bad result, and we were back mid-table, 6 or 7 points off. So it was just sort of, another average season for us. We had a good summer transfer window, brought in a few good players. I don't know if we're going to go and talk about that, but we had a very good transfer window.
Yeah, you can talk about any of the highlights.
Yeah. Well, we bought in.
I was going to say, yeah, go for it. Go talk about any of the key players that have come in.
Yeah, I mean, we had a really good transfer. We also brought in Armstrong and Mayulu up front, who have both kick-started pretty well. I don't know why we haven't played them together yet, but Mayulu's come off the bench a couple of times and got a few goals. Armstrong started well. That sort of big, powerful, strong, tall, but also fast striker that we've been missing since probably Famara Jeju left a couple of years back. So it's nice to have that, especially when we're a team that does like to play it long sometimes. And then Max Bird in midfield as well has looked good. Yeah, a few others we've brought in as well, but it all sort of changed when Rob Dickey got injured a couple of weeks back, and then we've struggled a bit. But yeah, last season was okay. We just got hope for progression this season. So far, it's hard to tell.
It's still early days, isn't it? It's still early days to know exactly where anyone's season's going to go. We're looking okay at the moment, but got to be a bit cautiously optimistic. I don't know where we are in the league table at the moment is really where we should be, but at the end of the day, that's where we are. So we've got to look ahead and see what we can do to go forward. You mentioned a couple of incomings there. Have you got any outgoings that maybe have changed the makeup of your squad? Any big losses?
We haven't really, to be honest, not off the top of my head. Obviously, we lost Scott Twine at the end of last season, then bought him back right at the end of the transfer window. But apart from that, off the top of my head, I don't think we have. Obviously, we lost Andy Vyman and Matty James and a couple of other of the older, more senior players in the squad last season. But we replaced them quite early on. We obviously bought Max Bird in January last year and then sent him back to Derby. We got him in for when Matty James left. But apart from that, I don't think we did. Apart from Tommy Conway is probably the only main one that just came back to me. Obviously, he went to Middlesbrough. But again, we bought in two strikers, obviously Mayulu and Armstrong, very early on in the window, whilst we still had Tommy Conway. So at one point, I think we had about 5 or 6 strikers. So I mean, we sort of deep down we knew he was going to go. We just didn't know when he was going to go or who he was going to go to. But I mean, yeah, apart from Tommy Conway, there's not really been much that's changed. We also brought in Yu, actually, who came in from Japan, and he's been unreal. He came on at half-time or 60th minute on Saturday and completely changed the game. And so he's turning out to be a fan favourite, even though it's still early on in his Bristol City career. But yeah, to answer your question, not really, bar Tommy Conway.
Early in the season, as I just mentioned, Bristol are sitting in 13th place with 8 points, 2 wins, 2 draws, and 2 defeats. So who knows which way this one is going to go. Scored 8 goals, conceded 12. How would you rate the beginning of your season? I know there's only 2 wins in the last 5, 2 defeats in there as well. Can you really get any sort of theme from your form, or is it just a bit still trying to find out where you are?
Well, 2 wins, 2 draws, and 2 losses is probably the most Bristol City thing ever for the first 6 in a season. So that's actually quite funny, to be honest. Well, we started off the season quite well. We were quite optimistic. Obviously, started off with Hull away, went 1-0 up in the second half, and then looked like we were going to get the first 3 points of the season. And then, for some reason or another, for absolutely no reason, Matty James just decides to jump into someone in the box in the last minute to give Hull a penalty. So we drew that one, and then we had, who was it, Millwall. Again, crazy game, 2-0 up at half-time, cruising, playing really well. My mate comes back up in the second half in about 49th, 50 minute. By that time, it was back to 2-1, and they had a penalty. So in 5 minutes from the second half starting, it was 2-2, and then they scored to make it 3-2. And then we brought on Mayulu, he scored, and somehow ended up winning that one 4-3 in the last minute. I think Scott Twine actually scored on his second debut. So obviously after that, you sort of feel like it's going to be a good season. That wouldn't have happened a couple of seasons ago. And then we had Coventry at home, I think, and that was 1-1 again. Went 1-0 up, and they got it back late on. So again, you're thinking unbeaten going into the last game before the international break is looking good. Heads up, go to Derby, get battered 3-0. Even though probably in the first 20 minutes they hardly touched the ball, and we probably should have scored 2 or 3 ourselves, but lost that one 3-0. So you go into the international break a bit disappointed, and then you come back, Blackburn away, lose 3-0 again. Probably one of the worst performances I've seen in a long time. And then you start to get a bit nervous. 2 3-0 losses on the back. It's not looking good. And then obviously the last one, Oxford, like I said, touched on it a little bit. Went 1-0 down. It was quite toxic at Ashton Gate. Then Manning changed it up, and to be fair to him, we're a lot better in the second half. I know I said in my video straight after that I don't think we deserved it, but looking back, I think we did do enough to probably get the win, even though the penalty was a bit controversial. But yeah, I know I've talked through every game there, but like I said, it's just the same old Bristol City, really, isn't it? You don't know what the next game is gonna hold, and you don't know which team's gonna turn up. You don't know which Bristol City is gonna turn up. So yeah, when you ask for a prediction, it could be very wrong, or somehow I could get lucky.
So you have no idea what to expect going into this one on the weekend, then I take it from that
Nope.
form.
Nope, not at all. Not at all.
What can we expect to see from Bristol City in terms of how you're going to set up and play then?
It's probably going to be the 4-2-3-1, that sort of thing. That's sort of been Manning's favourite to start with, although he did change it up on Saturday in the second half. And obviously, I don't really know what he changed it to be honest. I didn't really pay that much attention. But he changed it up and it worked. But I'd expect it would probably be a 4-3-2-1. No, 4-2-3-1, sorry. But I mean, we lost Dickey in the game against Coventry, I think. Obviously, main centre back. And since then, we've looked shaky at the back. We are really missing him. And also, I think you can tell that as soon as he gets injured, we lose 2 games 3-0 away from home on the bounce. So, yeah, I don't know. I do worry when we don't have Dickey, especially from what we've seen. But I mean, we have to move on, don't we? I don't think he's going to be back for this one. So, I mean, you've got a chance there. I'd be very surprised if both teams don't score. I'll be honest. And I mean, I didn't touch on it in the last question, but I mean, our away form, haven't won yet away from home. Only scored 1, conceded 7 in 3 games. I mean, if you look at that, it's not looking too good.
That's a good bit of information that I didn't realise. So perhaps that's good for the Swans. Hopefully that can play to our favour then. If your away form is that torrid, but we need to, we haven't lost at home either this season. So I'll add one in there on top of that. So yeah, that means you're going to win like 3-0.
Go. Oh, well, yeah. I highly doubt that. And I mean, it's one of these things over the last few years, we've been quite good away from home. It's where we've picked up our points, and then we've been horrible at home. But I think now we're 7 unbeaten at home, and obviously haven't won away from home yet in the league. And well, actually, we ended last season. We lost our last away game to Stoke 4-0. So actually, in 4 games away from home in the league, we've conceded 11 and scored 1. So actually, looking at that, it's not ideal. I didn't actually realise it was that bad when you put it like that, but.
Who would be the key players in your starting 11 that Swans fans should look out for?
Well, if he starts, it's going to be you. Hirakawa, Japanese winger, came in. I think it's on loan with maybe an option to buy, or maybe just bought him. I'm not too sure. But so from what we've seen so far, like I said earlier, he's a fan favourite. He's the player that could create something out of nothing in a game that we haven't created anything. He could come on and create something. And I think after his performance on Saturday, I think he has to start. So if this game was maybe a month ago, I could probably give you 4 or 5 players to look out for. But just of how up and down it's been recently, I think just going off Saturday, he's probably the main man to look out for.
Okay, and is there any players in the Swansea City squad that concern you going into this game?
If I'm being entirely honest, I haven't really seen much of you this season, so I'll throw that back on you. And who would you say is the man to look out for?
Probably our wings. If we try to attack out wide, so the 2 wingers, as much as I do think
to attack from the wide, so that's quite that's nice to know.
Yeah.
Scott's wide as well, to be fair.
We don't really go through the middle at all. We don't. But Ronald and Ji-sung, he's come in this season in the summer. Ronald was in January. Both got a bit of pace, both got a bit of flair and skills and all that sort of stuff. But it's maybe the final ball, not always the best. So areas for them to improve. I think Ji-sung's still adapting to the physicality of the league as well. But one of them where you get a really good performance, or you get a dud performance, really good performance.
Yeah.
But Ronald kind of like definitely uses his pace to his advantage when there's space in front of him. So it depends if he's afforded that. But they're both exciting players that get bums off seats. It's just whether they have that final ball in them on the given day, you know. Sometimes they can be and they're on it, and then other days they just lack that last bit of end product, whether that's getting the assist or scoring themselves. But you know, it's early days, and I think they are definitely getting better and gelling into the team more and more the more they play. Ronald is probably more of a key figure now, coming in from January. I think he kind of hit the ground running and has been ever present ever since. Perhaps we're a little bit more over reliant on him sometimes because, like I said, we only really go wide. So when he doesn't have a good game, it shows, perhaps. But yeah, they're the ones to perhaps look out for in terms of who could perhaps do damage going into this game. So yeah, keep an eye on those two.
I think I did see a bit of that Ronald in the second
Yeah.
half of last season, to be honest. So yeah, be interested to see.
I don't know if it was
him
the
on
game that
Sunday.
he took a corner against you and it didn't go out anywhere. It went straight out.
Oh, I think that was it. I think he did do that.
Yeah, not one of his proudest moments, but I think, you know,
Same again on
they all
Sunday.
have them. They all have them. Okay, brilliant. So last question I'd like to ask then, what is your best ever away day that you've been on?
That's a good question. Oh, that is a good question.
It's a harsh one on short notice, I know, but
it is hard.
let's see what
It's
you
hard
have to say.
Straight. Just off the top of my head, it's tough. The first one that comes to mind was Sunderland 2 years ago. We hadn't had a penalty in about 400 days or something like that, something stupid like that. And then we got a last minute penalty. We took about 1.2 thousand up there. So it was a brilliant away following from us, if I do say so myself. And we got a last minute penalty and we scored, and it was unreal. We had the same sort of celebration we had for the goal for getting the penalty. So that was unreal. I mean, we've had some good ones over the last couple of years, but obviously being in the Championship for about 10 years now, they all sort of merge into one. I mean, Plymouth away last year was good. We've had some good ones at Swansea over the years. I mean, that cup game away, although we didn't take many, that was quite a good atmosphere. Last season at Swansea was decent. But yeah, off the top of my head, probably Sunderland. I mean, West Ham's got to have a mention as well. 7,000 there. The scenes when Tommy Conway scored to make it 1-1 was unreal. But yeah, they're just some of the recent ones. I'd probably have to think for a while to pick out one. But yeah, some of them were
fair enough.
Got to be up there.
Well,
and hopefully,
all I can say is I hope
maybe Sunday will be up there.
Yeah, so I was going to say I hope Sunday isn't on the list, to be honest, from our perspective. You know, maybe good day out, but not good result. Hopefully, anyway, we'll have to wait and see. All right, well, thank you very much, Ben, for joining me today. Good luck for the rest of the season. Hopefully, not so much this weekend. The stats look like maybe they're in our favour, but sometimes that concerns me a bit more than you know, if it was the other way around, because you kind of rest on your laurels and get complacent. And I guess your team's eager to get that first away victory as well, or at least clean sheet or anything to stop the rot, if you like.
Yeah.
Can you remind everyone where they can find your content before we head off?
Yeah, so it's just Robin on Tour on YouTube. Yeah, matchday vlogs. I've done some interviews in the past, some other stuff with fans and all that, but at the moment it's sort of matchday vlogs, that sort of style stuff. So yeah, if that's up your street, and I mean, I'm sure if you guys win on Sunday, a few people will head over, and hopefully if we win, you might head over to have a look as well. But yeah, Robin on Tour on YouTube, and yeah, like you said, hopefully we do something on Sunday. But as I said earlier, I have no idea what's going to happen, what team's going to turn up. So, I mean, in some sense, it's quite nice going into it, you know, not expecting a loss or expecting a win. And yeah, hopefully be a good day out. Hopefully the rain isn't too bad. I had a look. I don't know where like it has been in Swansea, but in Bristol it's been awful this week. So I had a look online, and it looks a bit wet, but okay. So hopefully that stays up and we can come away with 3 points. But yeah, I guess we'll have to see.
Got bad news for you on the weather front. It hasn't been good. There's flooding everywhere. I went to work this morning and I was even flooded. So, yeah, that's the answer to that question. But thank you very much for joining me.
Great out here.
thanks everyone for watching. As always, go check out Ben's content on Robin's on tour. Vlogs, obviously, if you want to watch the game, win or loss, go check out his day out at Swansea.com. I'm sure it'll be something interesting for you to see there. And having said all that, on to the next one, and I shall see you in the next videos. Thank you very much.